Warning, this game demo is intended for 18 plus audiences only. So yep, you've been warned. Hello, my name is Emma and I've come to play You and Him's demo today, which looked very interesting. So yeah, let's get started. Oh dear. You. Middle of nowhere, 3:32 p.m. Radio DJ. In other news, the hit boy band Cake will be playing live tomorrow night at the Sanitar Alley Stadium in Park Bend, Arizona. According to our sources, concert tickets sold out within seconds of their initial online release date, despite the fact that a massive influx of these users caused the website itself to crash. Luckily, they managed to get the site up and running again, but many people were upset that they were forced to log back in and many missed out on buying tickets because of this. Thousands took to Twitter to vent their frustrations, while others made light of the situation by making and sharing memes. Many of these posts went viral and got Sanitar Alley Stadium trending for 3 days straight on Twitter itself. The DJ lets out a huff of breath, but he needed one after all that. I can't believe what I'm seeing in these reports. Can you, Kenny? The car's radio cackles and a new voice joins in on the conversation, his tone coming across as both jovial and borderline cartoonish. Not in the slightest, and I'm just as stunned as you are. It's fascinating to see these young men who started from modest backgrounds rise to take the world by storm. I don't think I've seen a boy band craze this bad since the 90s and early 2010s. But I don't think those even compare to what we're seeing today. Don't you agree, Bob? Bob, the first radio DJ who spoke, lets out a giant guffaw. Woo! Boy, is that an understatement. Even my husband adores their latest hit single, The Way You Make Me Swear, which is saying something. I thought your husband hated modern day music. My point exactly. If they can make my husband love their sound, then you know that they've got something special that old men like him and I can't even ignore. When they start playing Cake's latest signal, you turn down the dial on the radio, choosing instead to focus on the long stretch of road before you. So we're not much of a fan of Cake, it seems. The blistering heat already makes it hard to concentrate, and you don't need the added distraction. Especially considering you've driven almost 323 miles thanks to your aunt's pleas to gather up all your uncle's valuables and drop them off at his new apartment in the next 6 towns over, and are now on the return drive home, sans guns. You tried turning her down, but your mum called and forced you to agree. Something about being a good relatives and mentions of past actions where your aunt almost didn't treat you like dirt, and yada 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 yada. At that point, you just wanted to hang up and go back to your hermit crab lifestyle. So you agreed and took an obscene amount of guns from your aunt to give to your uncle. Are we talking about legit guns? Like things that you shoot people with? What the fuck? What are we doing with guns? Like, you know when you're in America when you're carpooling bloody guns, don't you? Jesus Christ almighty. Don't be going over any speed bumps or anything. Due to the terms and conditions of their divorce, the judge ruled that since your aunt took ownership of the house, your aunt needed to fork over her collection of guns and hand them over to your uncle. What the fuck? Getting the aforementioned guns out of her house was a nightmare. The woman kept screaming every time you loaded the guns into your car. That's not my friggin' fault, is it, you psychopath? You had to restrain her when she kept trying to lunge for your trunk, saying he wouldn't know if 1 or 2 were missing. I think his aunt has a few screws loose. When you refused to budge on the matter, she became inconsolable and ran inside the house, shutting herself in the bathroom for a solid 20 minutes before you needed to leave. When she returned, her demeanour returned to normal. We need to have our auntie committed. Well, at least for her. Relatives are weird, man. Speaking of weird, how long was the stretch of road again? You could have sworn it was a heck of a lot shorter the first go around. Not to mention you needed to pay. You regret not stopping by at the gas station 50 miles back, actively choosing to ignore the huge warning sign that said, "Next gas station in 100 miles." A terrible decision considering the current state of your bladder. You mull over your lack of options when something in the distance catches your attention. As your car eats up the distance between you, you make the shape of a large lumbering figure walking alongside the road with their thumb jutted out and raised above their head. Huh? What's a hitchhiker doing all the way out here? Your bladder quakes. Never mind, you don't have time for this. Not to mention the fact that your mother always warned you about shady hitchhikers. Letting this man into your car reeks of future trouble. Best to avoid a situation like that altogether. I've got a car full of guns, I'm not scared. I don't know how to use them, but I have a car full of them. He's probably going to be far more scared of me than I am of him. If it's a bloke. Or do we not have the guns anymore? When you pull up right behind him, you notice a distinct limp to his walk, and blood blooming out from his pant leg. Oh dear. There's like coyotes and stuff in America, isn't there? He's gonna get eaten. Oh dear. Seeing his injury causes guilt to settle in. He's clearly hurt and needs help, and there's no one else around but you. You wrestle with your options when he suddenly collapses into a heap on the side of the road. Shit. There goes your self-preservation. He's half dead, what's he gonna do? You park away ahead of him and launch out of the driver's seat, praying to a god you don't believe in that he's okay. Was that sentence really necessary? When you reach him, you fall to your knees and gently nudge his shoulder, only to garner no response. Oh, we found a cute goth guy. Come on, please be okay. You lean down and press your head against his chest. You feel it rise and fall, and the sound of a faint heartbeat. Good, he's still breathing. Goths can't be out in sun, let's save him. You sit back up and gently try shaking his shoulder again. Sir, can you hear me? He's also conscious. Another good sign. Have we got some water? Don't worry, sir. I'm going to call for help, okay? You pull out your cell phone, ready to dial the emergency helpline, when a hand latches onto your wrist in a vice-like grip, and the man beneath you adjusts himself into a sitting position. Oh dear. You're taken aback by the man's fierce gaze glaring at you through a veil of raven-coloured hair. Don't call anyone. I'm fine. Yes, but... Nails dig into your forearm. Not enough to draw blood, but enough to warn you he means business. I said I'm fine. Listen to the sexy man. Call anywhere and stand your ground. I am going to listen to this sexy man. You lower your phone, exiting out of the phone's app without a second glance at the screen. Alright, but at least let me look at your leg. He visibly relaxes at your compliant nature and nods, leaning back so you can roll up his pant leg and examine the damage laying underneath. Blood coats the wound on his leg. You can't even see the extent of the injury when there's so much. You need to clean it off. Wait right here. You head for your car and locate the box cutter knife hidden underneath the driver's seat. Cutting off the bottom half of your shirt, you grab the once cold but now warm water bottle you brought with you for your mini road trip and use it to soak the stray piece of fabric. You toss your box cutter back onto the driver's seat before returning to the hitchhiker. The hitchhiker looks up upon hearing your approaching footsteps. You watch his eyes widen into the equivalent of large saucers. His lips slightly parted in surprise as his gaze zeroes in on the new patch of exposed skin. He studies the shape of your body, tracing over each and every part of you with new eyes. You grow flustered at the attention, but you also don't hate it. It's nice in a way. You're a little disappointed when he averts his gaze, wondering if you misinterpreted the situation, until he bites at his bottom lip as if he's done something naughty. Your heart flutters at the implications. His reaction's kind of cute. You lower yourself to his level and try to ignore the blush spreading across your own cheeks. He's really attractive. A fact that you couldn't help but notice when you rushed to his side and saw that intense expression, like an arrow striking through your helpless little heart. But that's not the only thing that garnered your attention. This hitchhiker is Adam, the lead singer of Cake. What's he doing all the way out here in the middle of nowhere? So, I couldn't help but notice this, but you're Adam, right? The hitchhiker hesitates before nodding. Okay, so I don't mean to sound rude. What are you doing all the way out here, asking strangers for rides? Adam rubs the back of his head, almost sheepish in his answer. I accidentally drove my car into a ditch a few miles back, and I forgot my phone at the studio, so I couldn't really reach out and call anyone. Figured on the off chance that someone drove by, I could bum a ride. He smiles then. Guess I got lucky you showed up when you did. You're a lifesaver. You're almost blinded by that smile. No wonder his fangirls go crazy. Urging your pounding heart to calm down, you try concentrating on the conversation at hand, and get started on cleaning his leg. You need to focus. Oh, was the crash how you got hurt? Adam shakes his head. Cut my thigh open while hiking with my friends a couple of weeks ago. One of the tree branches was a little too sharp and gave me this as a souvenir. The doctor stitched me up, but I guess it tore back open since I started walking. He chuckled to himself. I didn't even notice it, if you can believe it. You're surprised to hear this, considering he's got a performance going on later tomorrow night. Surely he should let it heal before going back on stage. Well, hopefully when I drive you back to town, we can get you to a doctor and it can get taken care of. I'm sorry I can't do anything else in the meantime. Don't worry, you've been a big help. You flush at his praise. The smoothness of his voice and the way he says it makes you feel things you haven't felt in a long time. In places you haven't felt it in a long time. You attempt to focus on the task at hand, wiping away the thick congealed blood. But it's hard to concentrate when all you can think about is the fact that your hands are near his thighs and... Oh gosh, you're turning beet red from the thought alone. Nibbling your bottom lip, you peer up at him and find his gaze locked onto your hands with blistering intensity. You can't tell if he wants to rip your hands off his leg or to guide them towards other more intimate places. The heat warming your body desires the latter. Something wrong? His gaze suddenly flicks upward and you jump, flustered that he's caught you staring. No, nothing. Just a little daze is all, probably because of the heat. You duck your head and redirect your attention downwards, ignoring the horny little devil inside of you. Since you're back on track, you didn't notice this before, but the blood on his leg's a bit... weird. It chips and peels away like dried paint instead of smearing. What the... God, you fucking made me jump, you dickhead. The man withdraws a small silver knife tucked into the waistband of his jeans and lunges at you. You don't have a spare moment to react before he drives the weapon into your chest. Confusion and terror battle in your mind. Adrenaline pumps through your veins as you try to fight him off. You scratch at his chest, face, anywhere you can dig your nails into, but he scoffs and pins your arms down with his knees. You watch in horror as he plunges the knife into your exposed chest again and again. That escalated quickly. You don't even have time to ask why as the world goes dark. Bad end 1. Too promiscuous. Oh dear. Oops. Okay, let's not be promiscuous this time. Call anywhere and stand your ground. He's insane if he thinks you're going to let this whole thing slide. He's clearly injured and definitely needs a dressing for that wound on his leg. You yank your arm out of his grasp and press your phone to your ear before standing up, turning your back to the man as you glare at the sun beating down on you. Could it be any hotter? An operator picks up. Hello, what's your emerge? She's cut off mid-sentence when the hitchhiker plucks the phone out of your hands and drops it into the ground. He crushes the device under a scuffed boot, hands in his pocket, looking almost bored as he does so. Once he's done destroying the phone you worked 3 years in customer service to pay off, he runs a hand through his hair and reveals an all-too-familiar smile. Mantle, Spring Edition. Adam. On his journey from singing in a small-town church choir to becoming the lead singer of Cake. You recognise those features that spanned across multiple blogs on the internet stratosphere. From his gleaming white teeth, which were perfect advertisement for the 10 toothpaste commercials he sponsored, to the scar on his eyebrow that fangirls obsessed over. The lead singer of Cake, Adam. You open your mouth to comment, wondering how a man like him ended up here, when he rushes forward and plunges something into your shoulder. You're caught off guard, his momentum pushing you backwards, and your head cracks painfully against the asphalt. The man stands over you for a moment as he wipes the blood off his knife before using his shirt as a makeshift handkerchief. He smiles cruelly as he crawls over your collapsed body with a predatory gleam in his eyes, thighs boxing in your hips, trapping you underneath him as his hand pins your wrists over your head. You watch as he reaches into his back pocket to reveal a phone of his own. He taps something on the screen, and all of a sudden you're blinded by light. You try blinking the stars out of your eyes, confused by what just occurred. Shoot, I left the flash on. Sorry about that. This son of a bitch. You kick your legs and buck your hips in a valiant effort to toss him off your body, throwing your weight around in hopes that you'll catch him off balance. But he doesn't seem fazed in the slightest. You give up after exhausting yourself. Damn it all! Once you've settled, Adam taps the phone screen again, this time no blinding light. He stares at the picture he just took for a moment, nods to himself, then shoves his phone back into his back pocket, satisfied by whatever he sees. You've got a pretty photogenic face. The picture will print out great, don't you think? You try spitting in his face, but it misses by a landslide. Ah, that wasn't very nice. Nice went out of the window when you stabbed me. Maybe I wouldn't have stabbed you if you'd listened to me and hung up the phone. No, you still did, you dickhead. Yeah, right. You get the distinct feeling that he's lying through his teeth. You don't peg him as the honest type, considering he's probably got a bunch of skeletons in his closet if he's attacking strangers for shits and giggles. What did you want my photo for? Scrapbooking? His face darkens at your retort. How is that any of your business? Surely he's joking. You look at his tense expression. Nope, he's 100% serious. At least he's not cutting you open like a slab of meat. If you can keep him talking, maybe you'll find a way out of this mess. A Christmas present for your dear old mum and dad, then? Don't talk about my mother. Oh? Does he have mommy issues? No, maybe he has daddy issues. Better yet, maybe both. What about your dad? Can we talk about him? Adam considers you for a moment, obviously confused by your cavalier attitude despite the current situation. But he's curious enough to see where this leads. What do you want to know about him? Does he snore like a boar? Did he play catch with you as a kid? Does he barbecue and watch footballs on Sundays? Does he make corny dad jokes? What does he do for a living? Answer all your questions in order. No, no, yes, no. And he's a preacher from my hometown church back in Tennessee. Ah, a fan of the big guy in the sky, eh? I'm guessing you went to church a lot as a kid. Adam considers you for a moment. Ah, so that's your angle. I'm sorry. Whoa. You gasp as his nails dig into your wounded shoulder. Tears prick at the corner of your eyes, threatening to spill over, and you have to bite your lip to keep them in place. No way will you let this man get the self-satisfaction of seeing you cry. You want to keep me talking until you can think of an escape plan. Is that it? Well, I'm sorry to inform you, but that won't happen. We're alone. I'm armed with a knife, and this highway is almost always deserted. Very few cars drive along this highway, and the only reason people tend to travel here is for nefarious means or out of sheer desperation, but it's almost always the latter. I would know. I scooped this place out ahead of time. He gives you a sadistic grin. But you know what? Why not? I'll play this game for a little while longer. It could be fun, after all, giving you that small sliver of hope that someone might pass by and rescue you from your fate. Speaking of fate, let's talk about something related to that. Destiny itself. Don't worry, I promise all this circles back to my father. Now let's see. He pauses a moment to gather his thoughts before he begins talking again. My dad. You know, it's funny, despite being religious and believing in the power of free will, my father also thinks that destiny plays a big role in our everyday lives. He always says that while some things are in our control, other things are milestones made by God to teach us pivotal life lessons planned far in advance. A test of sorts, you could say. He digs his nails deeper into your wound and you bite your lip so hard it bleeds. Tell me something. Do you believe in destiny? Honesty's the best policy. No. Mum always said honesty was the best policy, no matter the circumstances. Sure, it might get you killed here, but he's probably already planning on doing that anyways. No. You admit through clenched teeth. Especially when people like you exist. What sick mystical bullshit would send me to someone like you as a test? He stares down at you for a moment, dissecting you with his eyes. You feel like one of those dead frogs they use in biology class to teach teenagers how bodies work and function, with your limbs all splayed out and pinned at your sides, ripe for organ harvesting. We don't do that over here. You wait for him to slice you wide open in response to giving the wrong answer, but to your surprise he doesn't. Funny, I thought you tried to lie and appease me. Typically when I ask someone a question after they find out their life's on the line, they try to fit their answer to one they think I'll like. I, however, find honesty to be one of the most honourable traits a person can have. In fact, I prefer your honesty, even if our views differ. So you believe in destiny? Why does that not surprise me? I don't. I was just curious to see how you'd answer. You wanted to get to know me after all. Even if it was just to buy time, I figure I'd still extend the same courtesy. I don't normally let my guard down and talk about my father like this. Aren't you happy? This shows how special you are to me. Wow, narcissistic much? His eyes narrow at your sarcasm, but you continue on because you can't stop yourself. I truly am the luckiest person alive. I don't deserve you or your kindness. You really aren't like other serial killers. Oh shit. He reclaims his knife and buries it deep into your shoulder, effectively cutting you off. When he withdraws the blade, he examines the fresh blood coating the knife and frowns. I appreciate honesty to an extent, but you'll fare far better if you keep your mouth shut. Make me. A childish retort in the grand scheme of things, but you'll be damned if he's getting the last word in edgeways. You watch as he angles the blade, lifting it high overhead before bringing it down towards your sternum with the most cold-blooded expression. You have to think quickly and throw him off his guard to ensure your survival. Close his eyes or kiss him. Smoosh! You grit your teeth through the pain, but it's the first thing that comes to mind. Always. Getting stabbed to death, let's smoosh. Before he can react, you grab him by the scuff of his shirt and pull him down. Caught off balance, he drops the knife and braces his hands on the ground, unable to avoid your awaiting mouth. His dark eyes go comically wide as your lips touch. He goes still for a total of 2 seconds, which doesn't give you enough time to grab his knife and aim for the jugular. You expect him to shove you away, to scrub his mouth clean of you, to drive his knife down in his disgust. What you don't expect for him is to return your kiss with desperate urgency. Goths need love too. He's a man who sought thrill from murder, but from the looks of it, hasn't experienced much, if any, intimate interaction. You've found an undeniable weakness. He's so distracted, eyelids fluttering shut in pure unabashed pleasure, that you take the opportunity to use your other hand to search for his knife. Your hands swipe over the dirt and rocks and asphalt until your hand manages to land on the hilt of the blade. You make sure you have a firm grasp and... Oof! Oh dear, sorry. You lodge the knife deep into his side. He cries out, rolling off your body, clearly not understanding what just happened. Free of his weight, you take the golden opportunity to sprint back towards your car. He calls after you, but you don't look back. Hopping into the driver's side, you rev your engine and floor it, pressing the pedal to the metal. You see him limping after you in the rear-view mirror, and watch as he grows smaller before disappearing completely. Adrenaline pumps through your veins, heart struggling against your ribcage. For hours on the drive back to your town, you check your rear-view mirror to see if he's somehow managed to teleport into your back seat, afraid he'll finish the job. I'm okay now, you say when your hometown is on the horizon. I'm okay. Him. Elsewhere, 9:30 p.m. Adam manages to return to his hotel room without much trouble after calling in a few favours. He's lucky he didn't hit anything vital, just a flesh wound that he managed to stitch together himself, the action of pushing a needle through his skin like a second nature thanks to practicing on previous victims. He lies back on his king-sized mattress, spent from walking under the crisp sun and getting hurt to boot. The sheets feel cool and oddly ticklish beneath him. Everything feels ticklish since that kiss from hours earlier, like his nerve endings are standing on end, hypersensitive to anything he touches. He absent-mindedly strokes his own bottom lip. He can still taste you, the shape of your body pressed against his, and the way you moved under him, ingrained into his memory, a permanent stamp on his consciousness. He wants to see you again, to touch you, to kiss you, to claim you, to mark you. Unwarranted images of you invade his mind, graphic depictions of your bodies intertwined, fueling his lust and causing his hand to dip down in response. He slowly unbuttons his jeans, unable to take much more of this corrosive heat, needing to get you out of his system when a woman's face flashes behind his eyelids. She stares at Adam in disappointment, tears cascading down her cheeks and over her cuts and scars. She shakes her head. Just like him, she mouths. Adam gasps and rips his hand away, tears prickling the corner of his eyes in frustration. I'm sorry. Your face flashes behind his eyelids, the sun illuminating your frame like an angel descending from the heavens. Stop it. You pull him down again. You kiss him. Enough. He chokes out a sob and curls into the fetal position, wishing he could bleed you out of his paws and untaint himself, but you've left your mark. If he wants to get rid of this fever, this disease burning within him, he needs to find the source and destroy it. Adam calms himself down by taking a deep breath and letting a plan formulate in his mind. As long as he's focusing on the future task at hand, he can handle this odd feeling overwhelming him and carry out what needs doing. When he opens his eyes, they shine with a determined light. He promises himself that he'll find you again. 1:43 a.m. Adam only requires a cheap lockpicking kit bought off of Amazon to break into your apartment. A weak defense. Did you really think that this would keep him out? It's almost too easy the way he steps inside, pausing next to your coat rack to allow his eyes time to adjust in the darkness. He scans the room, observing the dark shape of your ratty couch and cheap coffee table that spills with fabric. He wonders briefly if you started in on a sewing project of sorts, when his eyes catch on something far more interesting. A door left ajar that he can only assume is your bedroom. He slips out of his boots and places them next to yours. That's very polite. It's almost like he's your husband returning from work and ready to join his spouse in bed. It's almost too intimate in a way, and he really doesn't like the feeling it gives him. He needs to stay quiet, and wearing large, clunky boots would reveal his presence. He wants to surprise you, to catch you off guard, like how you managed to catch him off guard with that kiss on the highway. He'll never forgive you for it. Only the thrill of the hunt manages to subdue any inappropriate thoughts that might overwhelm him. He doesn't want to feel this way, you know. He doesn't like the fact that anyone can wield this sort of power over him, because it can easily turn into a weapon, which makes him vulnerable. Not only that, but the inherent wrongness itches at his skin. You're a forbidden fruit that tricked him into taking a bite. He wants to laugh at how his name suits him now, Did his father think he'd give in to his desires? Did he believe he'd grow up and become just like him? Do what's right, a broken woman whispers from the darkness. Don't go down his path. Her words encourage his already determined footsteps. I protected you from him. She steals his resolve. He's going to kill the one who tainted him and become pure again. Adam positions himself in front of the door, wondering what awaits him. Are you planning something? Or are you really naive enough to think that you'd be safe after you escaped the first time? Surely you're prepared for me, aren't you? His voice carries into your bedroom, but garners no response. Do you have a gun aimed at my head, a bat next to your nightstand? Or did you call the cops? Again, no answer. Now's your chance. Kill me before I kill you. Adam's taunting you. Probably because you taunted him in his dreams for so long. Still, you don't give in to his games. He grows frustrated and tired of waiting. It's now or never. Adam draws out the knife tucked into the waistband of his jeans. Your blood from the other day still coats the silver blade, the colour transformed into a deep reddish brown because he can't bring himself to wash it until he uses it to take your life. This single action, the taking of your life with his blade, will bring everything full circle. At last he'll be free. Adam notices a small bed tucked into the corner of the bedroom. The window blinds are lifted, allowing a small amount of moonlight to spill into the room and illuminates the mass of blankets where you potentially rest. They shift, signalling that someone indeed lies underneath them. Adam approaches the bed and without hesitation rips the blankets off your body and onto the floor. You startle awake, your eyes latching onto him, dazed and confused by the sudden shift in realities. You were dreaming 1 moment ago, and now you are drugged, kicking and screaming into the waking world. How did you not know he was on his way? You really are naive. He thought you were smarter than this, and he's insulted that you managed to escape him. How could someone like this? The words escape him when he sees you, skin glowing from the moonlight, caught off guard by you yet again. He keeps his eyes on your face, afraid to wander anywhere else. Then you pull him down and drown him in the blood red of your lust. In the middle of your heated exchange, you stare down at him, a deity perched over their royal throne. He shudders under your gaze, vulnerable and slick with sweat. He's breathless as he asks, "Why did you stop?" "Because I'm curious." Your body shifts as he grits his teeth, holding back a soft whimper, his hands going to your hips, as if holding you will ground him. A smirk tugs at the corner of your lips. Do you like this? Do you like what I'm doing to you? Adam nods. Yes. God, yes. He's never felt so good in his fucking life. Adam swallows thickly, eyelashes fluttering, unable to concentrate, but forcing himself to pay attention to your next words. Do you want me? Adam answers before he can even think about what he's saying. Yes. How much do you want me? More than fucking anything. One last question. Finally. Do you still want to kill me? Adam stares up at you. Yes. Yes, of course he does. Killing you means he's done his job and he can sleep peacefully at night, knowing you'll no longer hurt the people around you. He opens his mouth, then closes it. Yes. Just say yes. He tries again and fails miserably. You continue staring at him, patient, while you wait for your answer, your body still hovering over his. Maybe he just doesn't want you to stop. Is that it? Like he's afraid you'll stop making him feel good for giving what's obviously the wrong answer. But no, that's not it either. As soon as you touched him, the burning still exists within him. That's a fact. It always will. the burning transformed into something else, something that ignites whenever you touch his skin. The mattress begins sinking inwards under Adam's weight. He doesn't even have a moment to process what's happening before the bed swallows him whole. Adam finds himself suffocating in darkness. He tries clawing around him, but his body remains immobile. Then he's falling, and all of a sudden he hits solid ground. When he manages to pick himself up, he finds himself stuck in the middle of a kitchen, and he's dressed in his old Sunday best. He studies the room. From the aging rose wallpaper to the collection of colourful magnets used to pin up a child's drawings on the fridge, Adam knows exactly where he stands. A soft dripping sound catches his attention. His eyes drift over to the source. Off to his left, where a small, square kitchen table with 3 wooden chairs rests. Each chair is given a hand-stitched cushion to soften the otherwise uncomfortable sitting arrangement. A white tablecloth covers the table, with the exceptions of scarlet red drops splashed here and there. A yellow piece of parchment paper rests in the centre. Frantic black lettering bleeds through the paper, as if the author was running out of time and scribbled down what they could. Adam reels back in horror at the sight of it. Not this! Anything but this! Red drips onto the paper from above, but he doesn't dare to look up. The fresh scent of copper floods his senses. He knows this smell by heart. Normally he'd thrive off the smell, but this... His legs give out and he digs his palms into his eyes so hard that he sees stars in the darkness. He can't look up. He refuses to see it a second time. Someone hums next to his ear. He flinches away, still refusing to drop his hands, but the person persists. You don't want to face me? When he refuses to answer, the humming switches to his other ear, and then the singer asks a second question. Can't even look to see how deeply you've hurt me? Clawed fingers try dragging his hands away from his eyes. They're sharp and painful, and they manage to get him to finally look up and face what he's been dreading. A cold, dead corpse stares at him with bloodshot eyes, the whites glazed over by a greyish film. She, the corpse, cocks her head at a 90-degree angle. The movement causes her clumped wet hair to tickle Adam's face. He whispers her name. This single action enrages her and causes her lips to peel back into a shriek that shatters the windows and makes the chairs rattle and topple over. Don't call me that! Don't ever call me that again! You betrayed me! You promised me! I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Look at what he did to me! What they did to me, look! Tears stream down Adam's cheeks as she jerks his face closer to her bruised one. Purple and yellow spots dapple the base of her jaw and trail down the slope of her neck, disappearing under the collar of her grey dressing gown that she wears. I'm sorry. He's drugged to his feet by the woman, with her hands clamped around his throat. She tightens her grip, and he remains limp, knowing that this is the punishment he deserves for betraying her like this, for betraying his promise and her memory. I'm so... She snaps his neck with a sickening twist. Current day. Dower Hotel, 5:01 a.m. That was a bad dream, wasn't it? Bloody hell, poor lad. Jesus. Adam catapults out of his nightmare, trembling as his eyes dart around the room. The shadows are his demons, waiting to devour him. They hide behind the TV screen, under the bed, in his closet. He can't escape them no matter how hard he tries. Shit. It's just a dream. He needs to calm down. Adam tries thinking about his hunts. The thrill of carving into flesh, of ripping through bone and snow, and watching as a pathetic life fades by his hand. But then that corpse's face flashes behind his eyelids, and he can't calm down. Then you appear. A deep, seething anger rises within him. He grabs a hold of it. Anger is better than fear. So he directs all of his attention towards you. This, whatever this feeling is, it's all your fault. These weird sexual fantasies won't go away until you're gone and removed from his life. He needs to get to you. Now. But there's only one problem. After Adam got back to his hotel, he called Saffron and informed him of the situation. Saffron, in typical fashion, took the ordeal in stride and offered to keep an eye out for you. He spent hours outside of your apartment waiting to see if your car would show up. It never did. You. Park Bend, Arizona, 8 a.m. A bloody mess of gauze and medical tape you bought from the nearest convenience store clog up the bathroom trash can, covering the used pregnancy tests and sanitary napkins. Dark smudges circle your eyes from lack of proper sleep. A little fact that your aunt would curl her lip at, wondering why you can't get your act together. Always a supportive woman, that one. If she'd taken the guns herself, maybe you'd be off worrying about your next online show and figuring out how to earn a bigger tip, rather than avoiding your house like it got infested with cockroaches. But make it a singular cockroach. With a knife. That's funny. You stare at yourself in the bathroom mirror, fighting exhaustion, tooth and nail, gripping the edges of the sink to remain upright. A feat in and of itself. Your shoulder, while taken care of for the time being, likely requires stitches instead of the medical equivalent of flex tape. But who the fuck can afford medical insurance in this day and age? Not you, that's who. Damn it all to hell. After circling Park Bend for half an hour and weighing your options between returning home or sleeping in your car, you decided on the latter as your safe bet. You don't really want to risk it for a biscuit by returning home, considering there's a possibility Adam might know your address. I didn't know the Americans said to risk it for a biscuit. I thought that were an English thing. The attack itself could have been a one-off incident for a thirsty serial killer, hell-bent on getting some kind of action. But if that's the case, what did you take a picture for? Some killers like taking souvenirs, don't they? Maybe you're overthinking this. After all, he could be saving them for himself as a sort of memento of the occasion. You really can't be sure. Sigh. Maybe it would have been better if... No. You splash yourself with water stained a questionable colour in order to perk yourself up. Chin up, chest puffed. Do we not have any friends? That's what your best friend Jay used to say before he moved out of state to pursue his dreams in the medical field. Let's go to Jay, that sounds like a good idea. Medical field, friend, let's go there. You plan on taking his advice to heart until you exit the bathroom and meet the gaze of a kid who stares at you with wide-set eyes. He's in the middle of picking his nose and wiping it on his mum's sleeve. Ew. He never breaks eye contact. Upon seeing your grossed out expression, he cackles like a hyena. Yep, he's gonna grow up to be become a serial killer. You bet Adam did the same thing at that age. He put money on it even. The doorbell jingles as you stepped out of the air-conditioned gas station and onto the curb. A sudden wave of vertigo hits you and you finally lose your ongoing battle with gravity. An arm sweeps out to catch you, soft green eyes meet yours, paired with a gentleman's smile. Are you alright, my dear? You look a little ill. Guess that's what happened when a crazed man attacks someone with minimal medical access. You know for a fact Adam is probably off smoozing in a fancy-dancy hospital that serves steak with shaved bits of gold sprinkled on top. The world can't be more unfair when a criminal gets better care than the victim. To the gentleman wearing the crisp button-up and slacks in 100-degree weather, you've seen weirder. You just nod and disentangle yourself from his hold. He waits until you're stable on your feet to let go. Ate one too many pancakes at the pancake house on West Avenue. Challenged my friend to a contest. But you should see the other guy. Is that why you've got a nasty blood-stained shoulder? What the fuck? Yeah, obviously, the pancakes were a bit vicious that day, I'm afraid. Your heart stops and your hand flies to cover your shoulder. You wince at the sudden touch. It stopped bleeding. How did it open up again? He cocks his head to the side. Let me give you a ride to the ER. I'm certain they'll take care of your problem in a jiffy. Thanks for your offer, but I can't afford to fork over hundreds of dollars just to sit in a room, let alone get stitched up. I appreciate your concern, but I'll manage on my own. Then how's about this instead? I'm friends with a great doctor who runs a small and affordable urgent care centre. He even offers payment plans. You seem a bit creepy, I don't trust you. If I take you there and I promise I can get your bill halved, what do you think? Damn, that's a tempting offer. But one question lingers in your mind. What's in it for you? He adjusts the cufflinks on his button-up. All I ask for is an entertaining conversation on the drive over. You provide me that, and I'll consider it an equal exchange. So how about it? Fuck no. No, 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 no. Hell to the no. Last time you let your guard down, you got stabbed, made out with the aforementioned stabby arsehole, and managed to escape by the skin of your teeth. You'll just take the name of the doctor and go. I'm good, thanks. I appreciate the offer, though. The man nods and digs into the front pockets of his suit before extending 2 business cards to you. The first belongs to the urgent care centre. The second, you assume, belongs to him. Saffron Albachet. Oh, you're the bad guy. I thought you were a creeper. Talent manager. Collision Industries. Saffron Albachet. Talent manager. Right, you've seen guys like this before, claiming they hold your ticket to fame only to con you out of your rent money. You try handing his card back to him, but he holds up his hands, which are peppered with splotches of blood, probably from catching you earlier. The man, or rather Saffron, gives you an earnest smile. Feel free to call me in case you run into any trouble. Gotcha, well, thanks again, I appreciate the help by any means. You listen out for footsteps as you made your way towards your car. Nothing. And when you glance over your shoulder, he's on his phone, innocently texting someone or checking his social media or whatever. Damn, you've become paranoid. Almost embarrassed, you climb into the driver's side of your car and start buckling your seatbelt, wondering why you made such a mental fuss about everything. I'm not worried, he's creepy as shit. When you glance back up, you find Saffron staring right at you. He's licking the speck of blood on his thumb with a bone-chilling smile. Oh, not a fucking again. You're starting to think that your aunt had the right idea with keeping at least one gun on hand. Too many creeps roaming Arizona as of late. Him. Dower Hotel, 8 a.m. Adam scrubs a towel over his face, pushing back the purple strands of hair plastered to his forehead. I thought it was Raven. His body dripping with sweat. His legs ache after walking the equivalent of 3 miles on the hotel gym treadmill, but at least he's not thinking about you. Until he's thinking about you. He whips out his phone and checks his messages, desperate for something else to occupy his thoughts. But Saffron hasn't given any update in hours. Adam's mouth pulls into a tight line, wondering what's taking him so long. Where the hell are you hiding? Don't you know he has connections everywhere? Eyes everywhere? You should just give up already. There's nowhere safe for you to run. You're his now. The fact you need to learn sooner rather than later. Blowing out a disgruntled breath of air, Adam folds himself into the plush recliner stationed in front of the widescreen TV. He's never cared much for extravagant things, despite people always offering them left and right. He was taught never to want them, never to accept anything beyond his means, something he holds onto to this day. On screen, a news outlet discusses the devastation his fans are facing after Cake's latest concert got cancelled due to an unforeseen injury Adam received while hiking. Not an entire lie, technically. He was hitchhiking, and his latest target became more than he bargained for. A tidbit the general public will never know or learn of if he has anything to say about it. Turning his attention back to his phone, he clicks on the message he received the other night from an unknown number that sits just below Saffron's number. The one that tells him who to kill and where. Your name is listed alongside your place of residency as well as your job occupation. Adam swallows thickly. He never realised it actually provided a link to your profile. His finger hovers above it, heart beating a mile a minute. He's never been on one of these websites before, although he's heard people mention it in passing. Quite a few people even tried to start a petition for him to join, to which he declined and publicly stated his discomfort. Adam's never shown off anything more than his naked torso, and those were typically for photo shoots. Beneath the belt is, and always has been, out of question. His eyes dart back up to your name, and before he can stop himself, he clicks on the link. He's brought immediately to your page, which offers a little bio that describes who you are and the specifics of what you offer. Yours doesn't give much away other than the fact that you do scantily clad cosplayers and where to find your other socials. Naughty. Thousands of people follow your account, a fact that, for some reason, gets under his skin and eats away at him. He pushes away the feeling, trying to investigate with a clear mind rather than letting what he discovered feed any emotion. But still, the new feelings budding in his chest, colouring his world from black and white to a new array of hues with newfound vibrancy, are impossible to ignore. They burn like lit coals in his chest as he sees the ratings listed at the top of the page. And there's a lot of them, all 5-star reviews, all salivating over their custom services you gave them, all interested in what lies underneath those clothes of yours. And you aren't even bothered by the fact. Maybe you even like it. God damn you. Without thinking, he's too absorbed in his thoughts. He scrolls downwards until he lands on your videos. He almost snaps his phone in fucking half. The video he's landed on gives a little preview of what the contents contain, which is you lying in bed modelling a very revealing cosplay that leaves little to the imagination. It's like you're mocking him with your eyes, taunting him and his newfound hunger by beckoning him forward, similar to how you did in his dreams. He squirms in his seat as you lick your lips. Your taste still lingers on his lips from the day before, your mouth soft against his. Your entire existence drives him crazy, like nothing else has before. Fuck. His pants, despite the fact that they're jogger pants, just got a whole lot tighter. Adam puts his phone down, almost slamming it onto the nightstand. He feels so fucking perverted and disgusted with himself. Why did he do that just now? He shouldn't have looked. Because now he wants to scroll through your feed until he's seen every inch of you, so he can devour you with his eyes and commit each detail to memory. Even the foreboding voice, warning him away from this path, is drowned out by the roaring in his ears and the thump of his heart against his ribcage. Adam grips the armrests of his chair so tight that his nails break because he's afraid if he moves an inch he's going to reach for his phone again. Watch a single one of those videos and it chimes once. A text. Adam risks picking up his phone, only looking at the notification on the lock screen. Saffron's name pops up, and the preview message is just 2 simple words. Found them. You. Park Bend, Arizona, 11:15 a.m. You arrive at an old rundown trailer park, pulling into a dirt drive that leads to a selection of mobile homes, clustered together as if gathered for congregation. Wooden slats meant to serve as fencing offer a piss-poor attempt to separate them and provide some form of privacy for the local residents. A few people chatter in the middle of the road and ignore you while you're forced to navigate around them. You almost take out a portion of the aforementioned fence, which garners a visceral reaction from one of the men standing in the road. He shouts profanities after you and whacks the bumper of your car with his steel-toed boot before you can drive away. A cute little welcome back to the neighbourhood present, all in the new form of a dent. How lucky. You just can't wait to beg your aunt to stay. White knuckle gripping the steering wheel, you follow the rocky road, right up until you come across a double-wide trailer, painted tan with a slightly darker trim. The lawn is freshly trimmed, there's a lovely cactus garden growing, and that's not your stop. Nope, it's a teeny tiny trailer sitting next to the double-wide where looking familiars dapple the lawn in splashes of neon pink. Double-wide where? What does that mean? Your new possible home. The teeny tiny trailer, not the double wide. What's a double wide? Again, oh, you're so lucky. You really should start playing the lottery. Putting your car into park right next to the potted plant that's browned and withered, you step out and notice one of the blinds shifting as though someone bent to peer out of it, only to quickly pull away. You head to the front door, actively avoiding the middle step of the porch, which remains unfixed after it caved in 2 years back. You raise your hand to knock, but it opens before you can. A hand reaches out from the darkness and latches onto your wrist, causing memories of Adam doing the exact same thing to come flooding back in a rush of panic and fear. He can't be here, he can't! Before you can open your mouth to even scream, the hand yanks you inside, another clamping over your lips as the door clicks shut. Your pulse palpitates in fear as you try struggling out of your captor's hold. If we saw someone pissing about with the bloody blinds, why have we gone in? Bite hand! Nom! Survival instinct kicks in and you chomp down on the hand covering your mouth. There's a shriek before you are shoved to the ground, your elbow banging painfully against the floor. Above you stands a tall, dishevelled figure, veiled by darkness. They nurse their hands, cursing underneath their breath as they inspect the bite mark you left. The voice is distinctly female. Aunt Ruth? Oh, it's crazy Aunt Ruth. You're mental, you. Bloody hell. What the hell was that for? Yep, it's your aunt, alright. Why would you cover my mouth up, you crazy woman? I thought you were someone else. Who else would I be? No one else lives here, you stupid brat. She turns and you hear the deadbolt locking into place, followed by the rapid succession of 4 more clicks coming soon after. When did she get all those extra locks? There was only one last time you checked. Aunt Roo? Shh! Spittle flies from her lips as she shushes you, and your mouth clamps shut with a resounding snap of your teeth. You watch as your aunt presses her ear against the door, quieting her breath, like she's afraid someone will overhear. There's only 2 possible reasons for this. Either the problematic neighbours are drawing penises on her flamingos again, or something really sketchy is going on. No pun intended. When Ruth finally pulls away from the door, she breathes a dramatic sigh of relief, full on pressing a hand to her chest and thanking God, as if you're not standing there, witnessing the whole debacle. Before you can comment on her erratic behaviour, your aunt turns to you with her arms crossed over her chest, clucking her tongue. Now tell me why you're here. When you don't answer fast enough for her liking, she sneers. What? Did your uncle demand you take something else from me? Sorry to disappoint the 2 of you, but I have nothing left to give. I'm not here because of him. I'm here because my living situation has gotten a bit complicated and I need a place to stay while I sort things out. Your aunt's eyes narrow, or at least you imagine they do, considering you can't see due to the distinct lack of lighting. But you know your aunt's change in expression due to the disturbance in the air, a slight shift in the winds. You've trained long and hard to read situations like this, guided by your Jedi ancestors. Okay, Star Wars jokes aside, you just know her by now. Ah, so you're only visiting because you want something from me. Why am I not surprised? This comment irks you. Who were you delivering those guns for again? Certainly not yourself. That road trip from hell is the entire reason you're in this mess with Adam in the first place. If you never cross paths. And it's not like you want to room with her, but you've got nowhere else to go. Not when you discovered your worst fear a couple of hours earlier. Why do we have no friends? I don't want to stay with my crazy aunt. She's probably more likely to stab me than the other guy. At least I get smooshes from him. Park Bend, Arizona, 9:15, aka 2 hours earlier. After repairing your shoulder and taking a quick power nap in the front seat of your car, you find yourself sandwiched between booths at Briar's Bar and Grill, nursing a glass of water with an empty plate in front of you. You are drawn in by the warm smells and advertisement of cheap food. Searching your car for pocket change, you manage to scrounge up just enough in order to get something decent and moderately filling. The way your jaw unhinged when you dug into your meal kind of scared the waiter off. He still hasn't asked to refill your glass, and every time you glance over at him, he looks a little pale, opting to converse with the other patrons instead. You won't get a tip. Not that you mind. As long as you're allowed to loiter while you come up with a plan, you don't mind the lack of service. Besides, after running into Adam and Saffron, conversing with normal people proves difficult. You struggled a bit before, which is why your inner circle of friends remains few and far between. And now everyone is a potential threat, and in order to survive, you need to approach things carefully. This includes interacting with strangers. What you need is a friend or family member you can trust. Someone who can help you while you try to decide if you're going to keep your apartment or skip town. A temporary place of refuge. You make a mental list of potential prospects, crossing out those who live out of state, or those whom you've lost contact with, eliminating almost everyone in the process. All except for one. Aunt Ruth comes to mind due to her sheer proximity and availability, rather than the level of trust you share with her. But she's your best bet. Still, you can return home and put this entire thing behind you, thanks to the possibility of Adam losing interest. Maybe he thought you were an easy target. And you weren't, so maybe... A drunken shout draws your attention towards the front of the bar, where an older gentleman waves a busted TV remote in the air. Batteries! Get me the fucking batteries! I'm gonna miss the big game because of this stupid celebrity bullshit. His words slur together in a tangled mess. When the bartender ignores him, the man leans across the counter and tries yanking at the man's pants. The bartender rolls his eyes and cleans a glass with a white dish towel and simply steps away. We've been over this, Jamie. Please don't make me call the police on you again. The drunk man, or Jamie, as the bartender called him, slumps back in his seat and grumbles as he chucks the remote onto the bar. He folds his arm over his chest like a spoilt child who just got told that he couldn't have dessert before dinner. Your eyes glide up towards the TV to see what channel the TV is stuck on, when your entire body goes rigid. Adam. On screen, the camera catches close-up shots of Adam's signature purple hair to his iconic earring before finally landing on his face. He beams at the camera with the same exact smile he wore moments before he plunged a knife into your shoulders. A wolf in sheep's clothing. He really knows how to blend in, huh? Your nails dig into the meat of your thigh, wishing you could expose his true identity, when the camera switches over to the interviewer, who already wears a smile of her own. She introduces herself as Lawrence D. Tavino, and exudes practiced confidence that can only develop after years of working with A-list celebrities. Today we're here with Adam Guardin, composer and lead vocalist of Cake. She turns to him and straightens the stack of laminated cards on her knee. Now, Adam, I heard about the accident and wanted to make sure you can handle doing this interview. Don't worry about rescheduling, and be honest with me, how are you feeling? Your stomach plummets at the mention of an accident. An interview from today? Sure enough, there's a slight bulge underneath his shirt, right above his hip bone. Clear-cut evidence he made his way off the highway with the scars to prove it. Part of you wishes he'd bled out on the asphalt, but you knew the blade didn't go deep enough to cause irreversible damage. You meant to maim, not kill, unlike a certain someone. And now here that certain someone is, continuing on with his life while you're loitering in an 18 and up bar out of fear. What complete and utter bullshit. I'm great, Lawrence, happy to be here. My injury was pretty shallow and we're looking at taking extra precautions to ensure my recovery goes smoothly. I'll be up and running again in no time at all. He turns towards the camera and you tense on reflex. It's as if he's looking straight at you with those sharp, introspective eyes. The smile he gives the camera comes slow and mocking. After all, you can't get rid of me that easily. Lawrence gives a good-natured laugh, but the hairs on the back of your neck stand on end. To anyone else, he's a man determined to get back on his feet, but you know the comment was meant for you. It's his small way of saying he's not letting you go. Not by a long shot. You stare at the melting ice in your glass, trying to control your breathing as the interviewer presses a hand over her heart. I think I could speak for most of us when I say we're happy to hear that you have such a wonderful support team taking care of you. Now, you mentioned a while back that you and the members of Cake are pretty close. I assume they're part of your support system? Of course, they're like my brothers. They're my family. Same goes for my manager. Oh? Then does he tell his newfound family about his cute hobby of disemboweling people? Do they go on brotherly bonding expeditions and laugh in their faces of the victims? Are all of the members of Cake just as messed up as their leader? Or a better question yet, are they all looking for you? The lamb who managed to escape the slaughter. Panic rises in your throat. You pinch the bridge of your nose, close your eyes and breathe deep as you hear the soft coos of the audience. You can't let him get the best of you. You'll get through this. And besides, what are the odds that the rest of his band members know and participate in what he does? The chances are slim. You're okay. You're safe. He's probably the only person looking for you right now, and he's busy and on live TV. You're fine. You glare back up at the screen with newfound determination, and Lawrence smiles, her severe features softened by the expression. I can tell. You and... I'm sorry, what was your manager's name again? Saffron. Adam leans back in his seat, crossing one long leg over the other, wearing the most radiant smile as he looks at the camera. Saffron Albuchet. Your heart stops for a moment. He did not just say Saffron. Not the same as Saffron you ran into hours earlier. There's no fucking way he found you that easily. But your gut tells you he did. It's a good job that he has such a unique name. And now Saffron's card burns a hole through your pockets. Unable to ignore the facts any longer, you withdraw your wallet from your pocket with shaking fingers and pluck out the business card given to you hours earlier. Sure enough, embossed in white ink, Saffron's full name stares back at you. Saffron Albuchet. Saffron Albuchet, who works with Adam's band. Saffron Albuchet, who licked your blood off his fingers like it was a Gamer Gal bathwater. The same man who ran into you at the gas station, which is only a 10-minute drive from here. He knows what your car looks like, and the license plate numbers. He saw you get in it. He watched as you drove away. You thought it was odd that he didn't follow you. You were prepared for that because you thought he was just another creep. But now... You stand up so sharply you almost knock your table over as you frantically scramble out of the booth. This is bad. Really bad. There's no doubt that your meeting with Saffron wasn't just a big coincidence. He was probably patrolling the entire area looking for you, and bada bing, he found you within 24 hours. You can only surmise one reason he didn't come after you. It's because he's saving you for Adam. And once Adam finds what area you've hidden yourself in, he's going to come for you. And not in the sexy kind of come either. You need to leave and get to your aunt's now. You almost steamroll past a waiter carrying a large platter and apologise over your shoulder as you hurry out of the front doors. A voice calls out to you, but you ignore it, too occupied with getting the hell out of Dodge. The Arizona heat almost knocks you off your feet for the second time today, but you power through as you race towards your car and hop inside. The waiter who called after you is frantically waving his hands over his head. You rev the engine and peel out of the parking lot, not even paying attention to the waiter or what he holds in his hand. Ooh. Current time. Park Bend, Arizona. Go home! I'm not here to run a charity case! Aunt Ruth's harsh words snatch you out of your flashback. They're clipped, leaving zero room for debate as she rifles through a nearby cupboard. There's a bunch of liquor inside. Vodka, rum, moonshine even. A good portion of them are half drained and your aunt scratches her head, muttering to herself. When she notices you watching, she slams the cupboard shut. Go on, leave! I already told you you're not welcome here. Now, get! From the set of her jaw to the outward jut of her hip, you can tell she's 2.2 seconds from going off. She's a stubborn woman with southern grit and a nasty attitude to boot. But if there's one thing you know about her, it's her weakness for free manual labour. The entire reason she claimed to have married your uncle was because he took over the housework and paid the bills. A bona fide user, but you need to barter with her for a safe place to stay. Your eyes drift towards the sink, clustered with grimy dishes and cups filled with souring milk. They tower like a fragile stack of cards ready to blow. You pick up a fork with dried flecks of something on the tines and wave it around. I'll take care of any and all chores if you let me stay. Her lips twist like she's sucked on a mouldy lemon. Her jaw loosens and her initial stubbornness recedes. And grocery runs? Done and done. She hesitates, but clearly it's just for show because she wants you to think she's doing you the world's greatest favour. Then, fine, but if you slack off I'll boot your ass back out where little old Laverne sleeps. Laverne's a cactus. She's talking about a cactus. Won't be a problem. Aunt Ruth glances to her cabinet filled with the devil's juice, a code name she and your uncle called their liquor in front of you when you were a kid. When you asked for some at the tender age of 9, your uncle gave you normal juice instead and tinged it with red food colouring. Then your aunt threw a fit after she found out he gave you the last cup. Her temper tantrum lasted for 4 days. Yeah, an adult woman rampaging about juice. There's a reason your uncle is your favourite relative despite not being blood related to you. Aunt Ruth opens the cupboard once more. While she's busy, you replace your fork with a sharp knife and hide it in your pants despite the fact it's dirty. Better to be prepared if you're going out again. Then make yourself useful and get me a carton of orange juice for my vodka and 3 scratch tickets, the $5 ones. She locates a purse and hands you 2 crumpled $20 bills. If there's anything left over, get some paper plates. You got it. You're about to reach for the door, but quick as a whip, she's already ahead of you and unlatching all the locks. You don't even have time to think as you're ushered outside and tossed onto the porch. The door slams behind you, followed by locks snapping into place. You look at the money in your hands and reach for your back pocket, where your wallet should be. Only, it's not there. You search your car next, underneath the seat in the centre console, as well as the glove compartment box. Not there either. Then you remember the waiter calling after you, trying to draw your attention. Now you understand why. You left your wallet at the bar. Well, it went for shits and giggles, wasn't it? Shit. Him. Park Bend, Arizona. Oh, he's there. Adam enters Briar's Bar and Grill with slumped shoulders and the aura of a man who just lost everything. He pulls his baseball cap down to shield his eyes as he takes a seat at the bar before waving the bartender over. What can I get you? Adam makes sure his voice cracks a little around the edges as he answers. Bourbon on the rocks, please. He lets out a pathetic sniff while the bartender pulls out a glass. He works with practice efficiency, but Adam can sense the man's growing curiosity and concern over his behaviour by certain cues in his body language. Like the way the bartender chews at his lips as if he's debating on asking if Adam's alright. Or the way he places Adam's drink of choice in front of him, soft and polite, as if he's afraid of startling a deer. He's a natural empath and one that can be easily exploited for information. Perfect. Is there anything else I can get you? Adam solemnly shakes his head. No, I'm fine, thank you though. He keeps his voice soft and quiet as he rubs away the condensation on the lips of the glass. He forces himself to keep a straight face as the man shifts from foot to foot. It's almost too easy. Then, as predicted, Hey, are you okay, man? Adam swallows thickly, and you can feel the man growing more and more worried. He got his attention. This is perfect. Just got a lot going on. I'm sorry. He sighs and pushes away the drink. I don't even feel like drinking this. I'm just a mess right now. The man hesitates and puts Adam's bourbon off to the side and braces his crossed arms against the countertop as he leans forward. Adam scrubs a hand down his face to hide his smirk. He really should try out for acting one of these days. He's too good at it. After he finds you and slits your pretty little throat, he'll bring up the idea to Saffron. Knowing Saffron and his desire for the band to reach grander heights, he's almost certain he'll agree. But first things first, he needs to weasel some information out of this guy. You can talk about it if you want, I'll listen. Adam shakes his head, face still covered. It's so hard not to laugh. Why are these people so easy? He clears his throat of laughter, although the bartender will think otherwise. I don't want to bother you, I've already done enough today. No, it's okay, that's what bartenders are here for, yeah? He's so sweet and sincere, Adam could puke. But instead, Adam just lowers his hand and lets out a deep, shuddering breath. It's silly, but I got into a fight with my significant other. It started off as a light argument. They were frustrated over something I said and responded negatively because I didn't think it was that bad. Adam sniffs again. It then spiraled from there and they ran out of the house. I spent hours looking for them, but I don't know where they've run off to, and they won't answer their phone. I'm so scared they got hurt. The bartender grows solemn. Well, maybe I can keep an eye out and tell them that you were looking for them. What do they look like? Adam whips out his phone and shows him a picture of you. It's one he grabbed off your social media and saved for this exact purpose, photoshopping the two of you together in order to feed into his story. The bartender takes Adam's phone and scratches the back of his head. Oh yeah, actually they were here a couple of hours ago. Adam perks up. Really? And they're okay? They're not hurt? The man gives Adam his phone back. No, they seemed a bit jittery and left their wallet behind. He pats the back of his pocket for emphasis. I picked it up and tried calling after them, but they seemed like they were in a hurry. I'm keeping it on hand in case they come back looking for it. Adam looks down at your photo with fake fondness. I'm so glad, thank you so much. Maybe they're still near here. Sorry, I couldn't help more. Adam allows a few fake tears slip from his eyes as he rubs them away with his thumb and forefinger. As if on cue, the bartender rounds the counter and soothes Adam with a comforting pat to the back. A warm, comforting presence to some, but to Adam, it's annoying. Pathetic. Still, he's given him the perfect opportunity, and what kind of man would Adam be if he didn't take it? He stands up and hugs the bartender, who stiffens in surprise at the sudden gesture. Adam gives the man a hard squeeze around the shoulders, playing up his gratefulness in order to distract him from where his other hand travels. His fingertips brush the top of your wallet, and without hesitation, he slips it out and into his own back pocket. This happens within a matter of seconds. The bartender doesn't even notice, nor does anyone else. He got what he wanted, plus more. Now it's time for him to leave before he overstays his welcome. He withdraws a decent-sized tip and places it on the counter. Thank you, again, really. Before the bartender can even respond, his eyes going wide at the amount of money, Adam's already at the door and heading back to his car. He inspects your wallet a few minutes later, away from prying eyes at a rest stop. Adam smirks to himself as he draws it out with relish. Who would have known you would be this careless? For someone who's evaded him for so long, you keep making mistake after mistake. It's really sad. He hums to himself, tapping the corner of your wallet to his lips while grinning. Damn. He wishes he could see the expression on your face when you return to the bar to find out someone was looking for you. You're smart enough to draw your own conclusions from his trail of breadcrumbs. He licks his lips, delighted at the pleasurable thought of you trembling in fear, like a lost little lamb cornered by the big nasty wolf when the bartender tells you. Will you die on the spot right then and there? Or will you wait for him to show his face first, before succumbing to the realization that he is unescapable? He hopes it's the latter. Adam can't wait for the chance to finally break you. But he needs to find you in order to do so. He looks down at your wallet and traces the faux black leather with his thumb, noting the worn insides and distant smell of you. It's almost too much, the way you flood his senses with your cloyingly sweet scent. So he breathes through his mouth and focuses on sorting instead. Adam gets a sense of who you are as he rifles through your reward cards, studies your driver's license, and counts each coin to the last penny. He gleans superficial facts about you, things easy to spot even without your wallet, and put them aside for a rainy day. Next are your crumpled up receipts. He scours through them. They range from small purchases to much larger grocery runs. None of them are relevant. He glosses through each of them with learned efficiency, until he lands on the last one. It belongs to a gas station that's quite out of the way from your residential area. The date's from yesterday, early in the morning, and quite a few hours before you pulled over to help him, thinking he was a hitchhiker. He doesn't know why you drove down that deserted highway. He never needed to ask people why they did the things they did before he killed them, because they never escaped. Not until you. What's that bloody noise? It's horrible. Thank you for stopping.
This is a test of emergency alerts, a new UK government service that will warn you if there's a life-threatening emergency nearby. In a real emergency, follow the instructions in the alert to keep yourself and others safe. Visit gov.uk/alerts for more information. This is a test. You do not need to take any action.
What the holy mother of fuck is that? What the fuck? We're all in danger in the UK. Come save us, please. Jesus Christ, almighty Lord and Saviour. I just want to play video games. Leave me alone. UK government, you bunch of fuckers. Okay. But these are the most important questions, because they're possibly a clue to where you're hiding. For what reason did you go into the outskirts of Park Bend? And why do so before making what he assumed was a long trip? He searches the other receipts for possible answers, but there is none. Adam leans back against his seat, pondering over the loose theories, none of which hold any merit. Then it hits him. You were visiting someone. Maybe a friend, or a relative, or a lover. It doesn't matter why you visited them, but the possibility that you did, as well as the possibility that you were hiding out at their place, could lead him back to you. It would explain the lack of receipts. And there's no other reason for you to visit. Any groceries would sit in blistering hot car for hours, and he doubts you would have visited a restaurant. No, you visited someone. But who? That's a question he can't solve on his own, not without help. You're flips open his phone and he calls Saffron. I need you to do something for me. You sit outside in your idling car while beating yourself up for a solid 10 minutes. Mistakes were made. One piled on top of another and crushing you under their weight. The biggest being the fact that you agreed to drop off those stupid guns. You should have played sick or let your phone drift to voicemail, because when your family calls, it's never for anything good. You want to bash your head against the dashboard until you pass out. Of course you left your wallet, because of course everything that can go wrong will. You're so fucking tired of this, of the games, of hiding, of panicking, of not knowing what to do. Adam should be the one who's afraid, not you. Not when he's the one who has everything left to lose while you have nothing. But he's after your life, and while it's shitty at times, you're kind of attached to it. Going out once for a grocery run wouldn't be so bad if you could just order future stuff online. But losing your license and debit card means you'll have to wait. And the last time you tried replacing your debit card, it got lost in the mail, and you were forced to wait an extra 2 weeks. The delivery service sucks here. So, more than likely, it's going to happen a second time round. Which leaves you with 2 options. Either go back to the bar, risk running into Mr. Relentless, but minimise the need to go outside as frequently. Or hope the delivery guys don't fail you and risk going out to get groceries over the next few weeks. Neither option is great. But going to the bar makes for one big risk, while other makes for multiple. The choice is obvious. You have to return to the bar. You look at the cash your aunt handed to you while wishing she'd used debit cards instead. But the woman refuses to expose herself to the online feds and works under the table. Everything comes in either a crisp dollar bills or nothing at all. She always errs on the side of caution, but in all honesty, maybe you should take a few notes from her book. Especially with Adam on your tail. But at least you have something you didn't have last time. A sharp kitchen knife glints in the passenger seat. Sure, it's grimy, but at least you can defend yourself rather than being defenceless. You mentally prepare yourself on the drive over. There's no telling if you have to use it. Aunt Ruth. Ruth stands beside her bed looking down at an old photograph from before she ever got married. The one where she's in front of her old church the day after her high school graduation. Here she's younger, prettier, hopeful for the future. A sharp contrast to the woman reflected in the glass, her eyes tired from battling nightmares and skin wrinkled from age. How would her younger self feel seeing her now? Probably ashamed and disgusted. She knows herself well enough to see that much. Back in those days, everything was sorted into neat little boxes, and anything that stood outside of it was a menace to society. And those ideals matched that of her friends perfectly. So much that her mother used to tease the 6 of them about being a hive mind. She's also the one that took this photo, catching Ruth and her friends middle after, with their matching cotton dresses of alternating teals and pinks. How many years has it been since then? She lost count. It's hard to keep track of months and days and years when they all bleed together in one monotonous heap. Her ex-husband was the reason she was able to keep track of time, and now he's gone, taking all of her precious guns with him. Did he know the real reason why she slept with a knife under her pillow and a revolver in her nightstand? Did he take them out of spite? Or is he really that thick-headed? She'll never know. Ruth places the photo back in her drawer for safekeeping and places the frame face down before slamming the drawer shut. She doesn't want anyone to lay eyes on her one treasure. The rest of the photographs she had got lost after she moved from state to state. Now it's all she had left of. There's a crash, and Ruth screams before slapping her hands over her mouth. What was that? Her gaze skates over to the source of the crash as she watches as a large hand grips the ledge of the window. Oh no. No, 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 no. Did they find her? The same person that got Alice and Grady and Chelsea? Yet, who else could it be? There's no one else who would do this. No one else. No one else she's feared for all this time. How did they find her? She's always been careful, never leaving too many traces of herself online and moving when she needed to. How are they here? Then it clicks. You! You must have brought them here! You stupid little... There's the crunch of boots and a soft huff of breath as someone crawls in with a head full of dark blue hair. Ruth watches in horror as a figure drops to the floor with practiced ease and rises from the ground like Lucifer himself rising from hell. The intruder wipes... Why does his hair colour change every 5 seconds? It's purple, it's bloody blue, it's bloody black, it's bloody brown. The intruder wipes the sweat off his forehead, giving a soft little huff of breath from the effort of breaking in. It's so nonchalant. Like he's used to getting away with this sort of thing without facing any sort of repercussion. This roots her to the ground, her body frozen in place. Move. Move. Her breathing comes in unsteady pants. She can't bring herself to even wiggle a pinky finger, she's so scared. Why is she so weak? She's always been so weak. Back then with her, and now with this man who poses a threat to her life. And oh God, help her. This man takes his time facing Ruth as he peels off his blue wig and cap, tossing them both to the ground with relish. It's a disguise, okay then. He groans and raises his head, massaging his scalp underneath the tangled mess of purple hair. His cross earring glints in the light, capturing Ruth's full attention. Wait a moment. Why does he have that? She knows that earring. But she hasn't seen it since the unfortunate news about Clarissa came out back then, and it wasn't an earring. In fact, it was a pendant that belonged on a necklace, a gift she gave to Clarissa for her birthday so many odd years ago. So where did he get it? Now that's much better. The man groans and Ruth stiffens at the melodic nature of his voice. It's almost eerie how similar he sounds, just a more masculine version of her. And those eyes. Ruth's hands fly to her mouth as she tries covering her shock. You're not who I'm looking for. His boots crunch over the broken glass as he covers the distance between them. She shrinks back. Please don't hurt me. The intruder slowly lifts his arm so she can see the hilt of a blade tucked at his side. He smirks at the way she shrinks back, reveling in the effect he has on her. He's sick. Twisted. Ruth backs up against her nightstand, her fingertips drift towards the handle of her drawer, as she works on inching it outwards. What do you want from me? Don't you see I have nothing to give? I beg to differ, but I'm not the begging sort. His eyes wander over to where she's inching the drawer open. What do you have in there? I don't... She yanks the drawer open and her fingers brush metal before Adam yanks her hand away by the wrist. Ruth shrieks as he towers over her. You're not supposed to play with guns. They're dangerous, you know. He says, eyes flickering his free hand towards the revolver. And you wouldn't accidentally want to hurt me, would you? Ruth's bottom lip trembles. She can't bring herself to answer, and the intruder rolls his eyes before they land on the picture hidden in her nightstand. Oh, what's this? He tries to grab her treasure, and Ruth's brain regains connectivity, grabbing his arm before he can. Don't touch that! There's venom in her voice, surprising both her and the intruder. The man actually cackles an annoyed smile. Ah, I see the family resemblance now. Turns out you've got a bit of piss and vinegar in you as well. And honestly, it's really fucking annoying. He rips Ruth's hands off his arm, sending her tumbling onto her bed. Before she can make another attempt to stop him, the man picks up the group photo with a defiant smirk. Ruth knows when he spots her, because the entire body goes rigid, eyes snapping wide open, like blinds on a window. He mouths a single word, and just like that, Ruth's suspicions are confirmed. She never knew what happened to him. She didn't even recognize him at first because he'd grown so much and changed everything about himself. But now... I'm sure you don't remember me, Adam, but Adam's face goes stone cold, and the heat in the room drops 20 degrees, chilling Ruth to the bone. He grips the frame so hard the wood creaks from the pressure. Well, isn't this interesting? He looks down at her, and the hatred in his eyes is absolute. If he didn't want to kill her before, she's almost certain he does now. They both know what she's done, the grief she caused, and all of them caused. And now her karma has returned tenfold. She's going to die. And she knows it. Ruth scrambles backwards on the bed before she hits the wall as he withdraws his knife. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Adam cocks his head, his grip on the hilt white-knuckled. No, you aren't. Ruth screams as the steel descends on her, causing a few lazy crows resting on her back lawn to go shooting up towards the greying skies. Torrential rain starts pouring down and soaking you through your t-shirt, pants, and the worst offender of all, your socks, as you make your way into the bar. Your stomach growls at the fresh, warm scent of food, and you crave both something to eat and a fresh change of clothes. But that'll have to wait until you get back to your aunt's trailer. Not to mention cleaning the massive stack of dishes, if you want to use any utensils. You're pretty sure something in that sink winked at you. Maybe you can stick a purchase for some cheap rubber gloves from Dollar Street on your way back. A woman bustles past you and stomps on your foot as you try to make your way towards the waitress. Fuck that smarts. Did she just stab your big toe with her 4-inch pump on purpose? By the way she's smirking while texting on her phone, sure says as much. What the heck was that for? Don't cut in line. You scowl, resisting the urge to pull an Adam by chucking her phone into the fish tank sitting nearby. But the fish didn't do anything wrong. You instead turn away and head towards the front, tossing a brief explanation over your shoulder. Not that you owe one. I'm just here to get my wallet, I'm not waiting for a table. She grabs your arm, pulling you back, snarling. Hey, I said wait your turn! The action reminds you of him, and something inside you snaps under the weight of it. Her next words die on your lips as you turn to face the woman in red, filled with so much audacity. Her hand drops limply at her side. When you move towards her, she holds her hands up, and you realise it's not your face she's afraid of. She's staring at your side where the kitchen knife rests. Ah, that makes a lot more sense. Well, it works well enough for you, as long as she doesn't start complaining to staff. You don't really need the added trouble of getting pulled into a police station. You've got enough to worry about. I'm not here to cause trouble. I just forgot something, so can you leave me well enough alone? The woman nods, swallowing hard while she takes a step back. A few people behind her grow curious and peer over her shoulder. Great. Gotta love the scene she's causing, giving you yet another reason to hurry and get the hell out of here. When you make it past the crowd, you manage to catch one of the waitresses' attention, while she bustles from table to table by tapping on her shoulder. Excuse me, but has anyone here found a wallet? The waitress jabs her thumb towards the bar, chewing loudly on her gum. Thomas mentioned something about finding one earlier. Oh, thanks. She waves you off as she continues on to her next table while you head towards a man, dipped head from toe in tattoo ink. As you approach, you overhear him make jokes with the middle-aged patron, who pats at his pot belly. Jessie says dad bods are all the rage these days. The tattooed man, Thomas, chuckles and he pours the patron a drink and slides it over with well-practiced aim. They're not wrong, you know. I'm sure you'll find someone who appreciates you for you. Just do yourself a solid and delete Winder. That coming from personal experience? Heard about it from friends, actually. I'm not really into the dating or hookup scene, so all of my horror stories come from them. The patron nods in understanding. Here's to that. Winder is dog shit. Thomas chuckles again, but stops once you step up to the bar. He gives you a once-over. His brow wrinkles, lips pursing. Have I seen you before? Maybe from earlier. I accidentally left my wallet behind and heard you'd found one. Thomas snaps his fingers, finally placing you. Right, I tried chasing after you, but you left in such a rush. I didn't manage to return it in time. The patron takes one large swig of his drink before he stands up from the bar and nods towards Thomas. He pushes a crisp $20 bill his way. I guess that's my cue. Thomas holds a finger up. You've had a few. Is Jessie on their way to pick you up? The patron rolls his eyes and waves Thomas off. Yeah, they're already parked outside. Thomas nods his approval, and the patron gives both you and Leroy a two-fingered salute before making his exit. Thomas pats the now empty seat in front of him. Feel free to sit. Can I get you anything? No, that's okay. I just came to get my wallet. Don't want to chat with old Roy, eh? I'm a bit offended. His smile says he's not the least bit offended. You like him almost immediately. You're also still in a hurry to get in and out, just in case Adam somehow figures out you're here. I'm in a bit of a rush, maybe next time? Pinky promise? He says it and actually sticks out his pinky. You laugh, and God, it's been so long since you've laughed, as you hook your pinky in with his. It's a deal. Thomas grins all boyish sincerity before drawing away and wiping the other patron's glass. Glad to hear it. So out of curiosity, did you and your boo make up? Your what now? My boo? You know, your man, your partner, your lover. Your mood shifts from soft vibrant yellow glowing and happy to an uncertain purple tinged with fear. What he says makes no sense. I don't. He came in here earlier looking for you. Said you two got in a fight and he ran off. He was really worried, you know, afraid you got hurt or something. There's no doubt in my mind that that man loves you. You scrunch your eyes closed if it'll stop his words. There's only one man searching for you, and he wants you dead. Adam. But how did he come in here without people noticing? He couldn't have unless... Oh, that little shit. He disguised himself, didn't he? Talk about being a chameleon, changing shape and personalities to suit his environment. You probably already know that though. You give a non-committal smile. Something like that. Thomas accepts this answer and reaches into his back pocket. He frowns. Strange, we got so busy earlier. I just kept your wallet on hand. Did I drop it by accident? He lost it? No, wait. If Adam was here, he probably managed to get his grubby little hands on your property somehow. Which is bad. Because knowing him, he's going to figure out a way to locate where you're staying. You don't know how. But your sixth sense is tingling. I'm so sorry, I swear I... The phone behind him rings as he holds up a finger, mouthing another apology before he answers. Hello, Thomas from Rise Bar and Grill speaking. How may I help you? There's a pause and Thomas rubs the back of his neck as he turns towards you. He mouths, Your boyfriend is on the phone. He knows you're here. Is he calling from outside, waiting for you to come out, wherever you are? He's the type to turn this entire charade of his into a game. Thomas covers the receiver. You should really talk to him. Yeah, because talking will solve the bad blood going on between you and Adam. He wants to impale you on the tail end of his knife. But Thomas doesn't know that. Fine, let me talk to him. You motion for the phone and Thomas hands it over with a smile. Oh, this poor, sweet, naive man. Adam tricked him too, just like everyone else. Your words are cutting as you answer, wanting to get the first word in edgewise before you hear his stupid voice. Hello, honey. You hear sniffling and the soft, quiet sobs of a woman. That's not what you were expecting. Hello? You can hear Adam speaking in the background to someone. When the crying woman speaks, horror floods you like a broken dam. That's... Help me. You grip the receiver so tight you almost break it. Thomas mouths. Is everything okay? You wave him off, trying to be more calm than you feel. How did he get to Ruth? How did he find her? How did he... Adam comes onto the line, unnervingly chipper. Hear that? She's begging for your help. Won't you come and help her? Let her go. There's more shuffling and your poor aunt's sobs get louder and you can hear her begging for Adam to put his knife away. You grind your teeth so hard you almost break one. How dare he? How dare he go for your family? When you get your hands on him, you'll go straight for the throat. You know, I didn't think looking for you would lead me to this shit stain, but as it turns out, maybe fate does in fact exist. Who would have thought? I guess I'll have to reassess my beliefs. This is between me and you fucking asshole. Leave other people out of this. Oh, touchy touchy. You're getting all worked up and here I am trying to be nice enough to put your dear aunt on the phone. I'd say I'm being quite generous given the circumstances. What circumstances? Are you talking about stalking me to the ends of the earth? Because if I didn't know any better, I'd say you're a bit obsessed with me. Careful, Adam, or I'll start thinking you've got an unrequited crush. The words come out scathing, sharp as the kitchen knife hidden in your pants, and Adam goes silent on the other end. There's a sharp cry, and Adam responds with venom. Ever suggest something like that again, and I'll start chopping off parts of her body. You bite your lip to keep yourself from saying anything else. It's one thing if it's between you and him, but another when your aunt's involved. She may not be your favourite person, but you still don't want to see her hurt. What do you want from me, Adam? You know what I want. You hate him. God, you hate him. You wish a stray bolt of thunder would blast him out of this existence and isekai his sorry butt into a world of pain and suffering. Fine, just leave Aunt Ruth out of this. Ah, acting so brave. It's kind of cute the way you try puffing yourself out to be bigger, when in reality you're just a scared little kitten. Are you going to try to scratch me with those little claws of yours? He's baiting you. Anything you say will give him room to hurt Ruth. And knowing him, he'll blame it on your behaviour, rather than his own sadistic tendencies. You keep your mouth shut. What, cat got your tongue? When you still don't answer, he turns mocking. Hello? Hello? Are you still there? If you don't answer within the next minute, I'll drill a hole in your beloved aunt's head. I don't get you. What was that? You're kind of quiet. I said I don't get you. Your hand slams against the countertop and Thomas jumps up from where he's standing, halting the conversation between him and a new patron. Love a squirrel. You explain to the patron and Thomas stare at you with concern. Back to Adam. You lower your voice a few octaves. I didn't even go to the police. I've left you well enough alone. Why can't you return the damn favour? Because you're a stain on this world, just like this aunt of yours. What do you even know about me? I've done nothing to you. I know enough. Now I suggest you refrain yourself from throwing another tantrum, or I'll make do on my promise. You do as I say, I'll let your aunt live. You mean live long enough for her to watch as you slit my throat? Adam chuckles darkly. Either way, she gets to live another minute. If you don't comply, I'll kill her here and now. Not to mention I've got eyes on that bar. They'll track you wherever you go. Now you'll be good and come back to me, won't you? You close your eyes, trying not to have a mental breakdown. You're trapped like a rat in a cage. And if you even try telling Thomas to call for help, he's going to kill Aunt Ruth the second you open your mouth. There's only one available option. You have to face him again, your literal worst nightmare. Fine, where do you want to meet? Do I really need to spell it out for you? The trailer? Adam gives a slow clap, sarcasm dripping in his tone. Congratulations. You put two and two together. Now hurry up or she'll pay the consequences. Your aunt's scream on the line go dead, with you standing in place trying to keep from hurling, the tang of bile in the back of your throat both strong and acidic. Your thoughts spiral out of control in a vicious tornado, tearing through common sense and destroying your sanity by the minute. Adam resorted to using your own family as a bargaining chip in order to get what he wants. He's got Aunt Ruth, and it's all your fault. It doesn't matter how you feel about her. This is your fight, and now she's been drugged into the middle of this sick, twisted game Adam is playing. You couldn't forgive yourself if she died because of you. You have to save her, you have to. A hand touches your shoulder and you jump like you were shocked with a live wire. You whip around to find Thomas staring at you with growing concern. Is everything okay? You seem agitated. Yeah, I just gotta head home. We've got some stuff to sort out. You know, a couple stuff and all that. You can hear the tremor in your voice, but Thomas doesn't seem to notice. He just nods sagely. I wish you the best of luck. Fights with loved ones are hard, but they turn out okay, no matter the end result. He gives your shoulder a reassuring squeeze as if to emphasise his point. Yeah, thanks for the help and advice. You hope he's right. Because things are going to get dicey in the next half hour, and you really don't know if you're going to make it out of this alive. Outside you find the storms amplified tenfold. Debris picks up and flies through the air. Trees bend and almost break at the force of the winds. The weather matches how you are feeling right now as you sprint across the parking lot to your car. To your left you can see headlights of a small reefer truck, blasting your car with their windshield wipers, whipping back and forth. When you get into the driver's seat and head straight for the highway, it pulls out after you and begins its pursuit. You try weaving in and out of pursuit. Anything to shake them off. But no matter how hard you try, they always remain 2 tail lengths behind. It's not until the midway point that they start tailgating you. You assume this is what Adam meant when he said he had eyes on you at the bar. Whoever's in that car is his informant. The damn stalker. Did they call Adam as soon as you showed up? You're betting they did. How else would Adam know to call there? He knew what you were going to do before you did it. He's playing a game of chess, and now he's getting closer to winning this nasty-ass game of his, thanks to his helper. Your eyes go back to the reefer truck. And as soon as you stop, you peer into your rearview mirror to see if you can sneak a peek at the driver. You catch a flash of familiar white hair. As if sensing your eyes on him, Adam's informant waves. Saffron. These 2 bastards. You're half tempted to reverse and ram your bumper into the grille of his truck, your hand hovering over the gear stick, fingers twitching at the idea. No, you can't. You wrench your hand away and force it back onto the steering wheel. If anything goes down, he'll tell Adam. And then your aunt's blood will be on your hands. You need to stay compliant because now there's more than one life at stake here. Yours and hers. You need to play things carefully. It's your best shot at making it out of this alive, and without bringing any more harm to your family. You take a deep shuddering breath. Stay calm, stay collected, and try to stay safe. The rest of the drive feels long and torturous as you force down your hectic thoughts. Thunder booms in the skies while wind tugs at your car, and your heart thuds well over the speed limit. When you finally reach the trailer park, everyone's lights are off, either asleep or out drinking. You pull in front of your aunt's mobile home and step out as the reefer truck stops behind you. They keep their lights on, illuminating your way as you walk up the steps. You hesitate before knocking. There's a pause. Your breathing almost seems as loud as the rain. What awaits you behind this door? What have you come to find? When there's no response for over a minute, you almost consider knocking again. When the lock starts clicking. Click. He's in there. Click. Where will you run? Click. He's going to kill you this time. Click. Death is here. Your time is up. You test the doorknob as soon as you hear the last click. Inside, the lights are off. Glass crunches under the soles of your shoes, and with each step you feel like you're suffocating. He's here. He's here in the same room. Waiting. Watching. You can feel his presence in the dark, lurking like a monster, sizing up its prey. Why isn't he saying or doing anything? Usually he can't shut up because he loves hearing himself talk so much. At least from how he presented himself on that highway so long ago. You swallow the lump in your throat and dare to speak. I've done what you asked. I'm here. I'm the one you want. Now let my aunt go. You wait. Nothing but silence. You try peering through the darkness, searching for his silhouette, but everything blends together in odd shapes. You reach out for what you think could be him, but your hands land on the messy dishes from earlier. Where the heck is he? Your hand goes to your hip, waiting for him to tackle you to the ground like he did last time. Adam? You take a step back, wondering how he's managed to conceal himself in such a small space. Is he going to springboard out from under the table like a toy jack-in-the-box? You wouldn't put it past him. You get ready to check under the table just in case and turn towards it. Something brushes your ankle and you yelp, taking a few steps back. Lightning flashes, allowing light to appear through the broken window. You realise that's where the glass came from. And as for what's near your ankles, you scream at the same time thunder booms in the sky, lightning illuminating the room once more. Your aunt lies motionless on the ground with her body covered in blood that soaks through the brown carpet. And above her stands Adam. He holds on to one of her arms while the other goes to scrub the streak of blood off of his face. He finally speaks. His words drip with poison wrapped in velvet. Well, well, well. He steps over Ruth's body and drops her hand, his pace slow and dangerous, like a hunter on the prowl. You take a step back but hit something in the process and stumble onto the floor. You stare up at Adam's wide frame in horror as he traces a hand along the curved edge of his knife. He then bends down to your level and tips your chin up with the point of his blade. His forever cruel smile returns as he continues. It looks like I finally found you, my elusive little pest. Good end. Wow, that was insane. Right, so I've got to go back and do the other options. I'll see you soon. Yes, lie. You lie, thinking that your answer will appease him. Yes. The corner of his lips kick upwards for a moment. You think that you've answered his question correctly. That is, until he withdraws his knife again. Adam leans close, lips brushing against your earlobe in a low, seductive voice. You're lying. He shifts back to his original kneeling position and drags the knife along your neck in one swift, practiced movement. Blood spills down your chest, soaked up by the ground underneath you. Your body convulses, fighting for survival, legs kicking out in a frantic effort to stave off the sudden lack of oxygen. There's so much blood, and the man sitting on top of you watches with some sort of sick fascination, while your life slips away by the second. There's not an ounce of regret reflected in those eyes of his. The only person who could save you now is yourself. You try to lift your arms to press the palms against the wound, but you're so weak he's able to easily pin your arms to your sides and tut like a teacher disappointed in their rebellious students for acting out against their wishes. Now, there's no use in fighting the inevitable. Just let it happen. He lets go of your wrists and you have no choice but to obey. You don't have the strength for another attempt. You watch in resigned horror as the edges of your vision turn dark, like the edges of a letter being burnt and leaving nothing but black ash in their wake. You whimper in fear and he shushes you, pressing a finger to your lips. It's okay. This is a natural part of the process. It'll be over soon. And besides, there's a place for liars such as yourself in the afterlife. At least according to my father. I can't speak for whether or not that's true, but hey, look at it this way. At least you'll fit right in. Oh dear. Claw at his eyes. You lurch forward as far as you can and try to jab your thumbs into his eyes. He calls his knife Adam. That's funny. He scoffs and easily grabs your wrists, pinning your hands above your head in one swift movement, using only one hand while keeping his knife in the other. Adam uses his weight against you, your nose to nose, and you can see flecks of red in those psychotic eyes of his. He's grinning like a madman. Never pegged you for the violent type. It's not really becoming of you if I'm being honest, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't expecting it. You struggle to breathe with the full weight of his chest bearing down on yours. He's enjoying your weak attempts to hold him off. Okay, that's actually a little lie. I expected you to cry first, and then fight back when crying didn't work. How about it? Why don't you cry for me? You gasp as something sharp drills into your side, shifting back and forth, tears pricking at the corners of your eyes as you hear the sound of your flesh being sliced into, like a butcher cutting into meat. You're trembling from both the adrenaline and knowledge that you aren't making out of this alive. Oops, too late. Guess I have no choice but to gut you up like a violent pig you are. Hold still, okay? He drives his knife back into the centre of your body, starting from your chest and slicing all the way down to your belly button in one swift motion. Agony rips through you like a bolt of catastrophic lightning, vision turning pure white. You try blinking to clear out your vision, but find your eyelids aren't cooperating. No part of your body operates like it should. You know... Adam's voice flitters through the field of white. I almost thought you were interesting, and maybe even a little bit cute, but that vicious personality of yours changed my mind. You feel him adjusting himself over your limp body, and you can only assume he's lifting the knife again. I'm glad to rid the world of a violent person like you. The blade burrows itself into your chest, past your ribs, and pierces straight through your heart. The world goes quiet, and you fade into the white. Violent. Sounds like a deal. I'll take you up on that offer. Stranger claps his hands together like a teacher, proud of his student for giving the right answer. Wonderful. I knew you were a sensible individual. Let us be on then, shall we? The stranger presses a guiding hand towards the centre of your back, urging you in the direction of a small parking lot located directly behind the gas station, towards a small white reefer truck parked next to a large dumpster that smells of spoiled meat. Suspicion flares hot in your chest. This is shady as hell. Anyone well acquainted with this area knows this place is a hotspot for drug sales due to lack of video surveillance. You don't want something caught by CCTV footage, you do it here. You dig your heels into the ground, a mere 3 feet away from his car door. He almost stumbles into you due to your sudden stop. Something the matter, my dear? Is it your shoulder? Or are you hurt somewhere else? I can carry you if you like. His sincerity almost gets you to start walking again. Keyword being almost. I think I've changed my... mind? He finishes the sentence for you, and when you nod, his smile loses a fraction of its warmth. You're not serious. You don't answer, allowing your silence to speak for you. The corner of Saffron's eye twitches as he goes to rub at the spot. You're really set on this? When all I asked in return was a polite conversation in exchange for a drive and hundreds of dollars taken off your bill, you're okay with missing out on such an opportunity? He circles you almost like a vulture, but his eyes genuinely convey sadness and disappointment when he bends his body to match your height. You feel like you've disappointed a parent rather than an absolute stranger. But you're not budging on this one. This just reeks of bad news, and that reefer truck creeps you the fuck out. You're making the right choices here. I won't stop you from walking away if you're sure. I'm sorry, and I should have realised it sooner, but I'm not comfortable with this. He sighs and pulls back into his full height, all 6'5", casting a shadow over your forearm, shielding you away from the sun like a human solar eclipse. He straightens the lapels on his jacket. A smile returns, although conveying a deep loneliness you don't understand. Very well then, if there's nothing I can say to change your mind, then that's that. Unfortunate since I was looking forward to the drive. Yeah, I'm sorry. You take a step back. Then another. And another. Well, I'll be on my way then. You turn around and start heading towards the front of the building when an arm wraps around your waist. It's so quick that your mind takes a moment to catch up. What the? Something gets plunged into your neck. A quick, painful stabbing sensation. It's just as quickly gone Or maybe it's because the area's become numb. You didn't quite understand what's happening as your body begins to slump. Where? The words slip out of your grasp as soon as you speak them. Thoughts become disjointed like puzzle pieces tossed all over a child's bedroom. They come together almost as easily as they're ripped apart. And your body slowly begins to sink into the ground, aided by the person responsible for plunging whatever it was that caused this into your neck. Shh, just let it take over. Don't fight it, you'll only hurt yourself more. Your eyes get heavy as his face hovers over yours, becoming a blurred mess of blues and whites. You open your mouth to speak, but it's filled with cotton. No. No. Cool hands brush your temple. I'm sorry. I know I promised to let you go, but I'm afraid, for Adam's sake, I can't do that. And I'm sure he'll hate me for killing you myself. I know he wanted to do the honour of doing so, but you... The fact that you escaped him once, I can't risk that happening again. Doing so will bring his ruin, and mine. Adam? Adam? You try thrashing around, but only one of your arms manages to respond, lifting up in a futile attempt to push him off. It falls back to your side again, useless. How did you allow this to happen? You trusted Adam in the first time around, a complete stranger, and look where it got you. Now it happened again, and this time you can't even fight him off. You're vulnerable, completely and utterly defenseless. Gloved fingers adjust the straps crisscrossing your chest, waist and legs when you finally regain consciousness. White hair drips in and out of view while Stranger busies himself with ensuring you're properly attached to the cold steel table you feel underneath your back. When he notices you watching, he offers a genuine smile before pulling up the mask resting on his face. Ah, you're up. Did you sleep well? As good as one can after being knocked out with sedatives. But you digress. It's hard to argue when your mouth feels like it's been stuffed with cotton and your head keeps ringing. Not exactly the perfect time to offer your wittiest banter. I apologise for things having to come to this point, but I'm afraid for the sake of those I care about, I can't let you go free. An apology doesn't negate the drugging or, kidnapping. You try to say as much and fail. Nope, your jaw still doesn't work right. Not being able to talk sucks ass. At least with Adam, you got some verbal jabs in before he tried offing you. Weird how you'd almost prefer that now. You guess you're one of those types of people who prefer to go out with a bang rather than a whimper. Not that you like making a habit of running into men with murderous tendencies. We're almost ready. He says this as he tugs at one of the straps near your ankles, and then around your waist. Are these comfortable? I tried not to make them too tight. It cuts off circulation, and we really don't want that now, do we? He waits. Oh God, he actually wants a response. You have no choice but to nod your head. He smiles as he pulls up his mask again. Such a polite guest. A shame we couldn't chat more, Usually when I get this intimate with someone, I like to get to know them a bit better. He turns around to a table with a large display of tools. Anything ranging from hammers to buzzsaws to a literal machete. He runs a finger along the razor-sharp edge of the meat cleaver and examines it in the light before putting it back down. No, not that one. That's only for my favourite guests. He picks up a scalpel, twisting it around with his fingers. This is probably more fitting and what you were expecting, right? Cold, analytical, precise. He comes up to you, allowing the flat of the blade to brush against your cheek, almost teasingly. You try sinking back, but your binds hold you in place. The entire table rattles from how much you tremble and shake. He's choosing what to torture you with? Why not just stab you and be done with it? Why drag this out? A cruel smile curls underneath his mask as you try pulling at your restraints. He can see the fear in your eyes, your flight or fight senses starting to take over as your body starts operating properly. He takes delight in it. Yes, I think this one will do nicely. Now then, You twist the blade so you can feel the slight biting cut of steel. Blood trickles down your cheek. Count to 3 for me. You open your mouth. Nothing comes out but a rasp of air. No. Try again. I'm a patient man. Phew. He presses his ear closer to your mouth. I'm sorry. What was that? You have to speak up, dear. Your teeth clamp around his lower lobe, enough to draw blood and send him reeling backwards. There's a clatter of tools as he bumps into the counter and something falls to the floor. You can't see what it is, but you don't care. You just hope it hurts. You. The man holds his bleeding ear, crimson rivulets sleeping through his fingers and dripping onto the floor below. You turn your head and spit his blood out of your mouth. Fuck you! The man lets out a soft laugh, but it's devoid of humour. His eye twitches again. So crass, so vulgar, it seems. His voice drips into a dangerous octave. We're going to have to train that out of you. Bring it. His eye twitches again as he whips around at your challenge, turning on the radio behind him. Opera music echoes throughout the room as Saffron readjusts his instruments after bumping into them when you bit him. Very well then. Let's see how long that resilience of yours lasts, He retrieves his scalpel from the floor, which is what that clattering sound must have been from earlier. A bottle of alcohol. What's he? The man grips your jaw with fingers as cold as a dead fish and presses his forehead into yours. Let's begin, shall we? He carves into your skin with multiple quick practice swipes, followed by the quick uncapping of the alcohol, and you let out an agonized scream. Oh dear. Go limp. You allow your body to slump, catching your assailant off guard. They stumble as your body weight pulls them forward, and you manage to twist and spin out of their grasp. They manage to catch themselves mid-fall. You squint in the darkness and recognize the silhouette. Feminine and definitely not Adam. The voice is distinctly female. Aunt Ruth? Right, so that's you and him. Very interesting looking game so far. Very excited to see where it's going. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself and hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.